Good evening, or early morning. It's Sunday morning around 1 o'clock on 9th September. Hope you guys are doing well. This is Jack Neal from Jack Neal Games. Um, just wanted to share the latest map design that I'm working on. It's still not completely set down yet, but it is looking pretty good. But I want to do some housekeeping here first. First off, I just want to say thank you to everybody so far that's supported the game. I did not have high expectations for a wide release and the number of downloads that people have done on itch.io, the downloads and from PNP Arcade, the traffic on my site on the release was just phenomenal. So that means so much to me, and thank you so much. And a lot of that is the reason why I'm continuing through and doing some of these extra ideas for the game system. I'm finding that there are a lot of nooks and crannies that can be used with this very, very simplistic model of modeling economics, and the for something that is just usually the train games are very, very involved. They take a long time to play usually. Usually you need a bunch of people around the table, and the response from everybody on the initial maps and the system, couldn't ask for anything else. So really, really thankful for that. So thank you. Next Monday, or excuse me, next week's drop for maps, I'm not sure what I'm going to share yet, but it's going to be a day late. I do have some business I attend to over the weekend, so I'll be back Monday on that. So yeah, so those are the two main housekeeping things I just wanted to bring out. And, thank you so much again, once again. So, so now we're going to get moving on real quick. I'm not going to do a full playthrough on this map. I just want to sort of go through just some of the design ideas that I had and just sort of bounce through. So, the main themes for this map are short lines. So in the southern United States, southeast United States, when right around between 1900 and 1920, there were a lot of short lines that were purchased up and were merged in with other railroad lines, most notably the GM&O. So what I decided to do was model that. John Bohr for Winsome Games also had a game called Golf Mobile in Ohio that was based similar on this idea as well. So that was a cube rail. This sort of borrows from that a little bit, but not too much. Basically, it's just the geography. But the name of the game on this one is the short lines. So for the most part, what we have is you'll see on the map we have some dashed lines that are short lines, and the way that those work, and I'm just going to bounce through here real quick. I'm calling them minor companies for now, but they do have a corollary with what the short lines are. So the short lines end up going out toward, whenever you roll company 1, it ends up being essentially a share purchase. So in this instance, if I rolled company 1 and I had a share pit value of 3, I could go and claim one of these short lines. Now, the kicker on all this stuff is that the short lines don't belong to anybody. So we'll just assume here, briefly, we'll say that I want to do company 6, which is the GM&O in this particular company here, or on this map it's GM&O. So you can see also too, usually company 6 has the mine ability, so we're going to include that as well. So they could go here, they could go here. So if there were shares in GM&O that I had, and maybe Xavier had, let me just adjust the color on the pixel here real quick, because it's making my hands look a little bit weird, and I was trying to make it so that it wouldn't be so washed out. We're just going to deal with it on this side because I am not that orange in real life. So, but anyhow, back to this. So we have, so if I have 3, Xavier has 2, and I go through and I've rolled 1 and I've rolled 3, I go through and claim this. I can claim any line on the map. It doesn't have to be um, part of my map at all. I could go over here and go this way. Doesn't have to be. And instead of marking the track as normal, you put the player symbol for who owns that. And what that lets you do is you can't build through that, but you can go through and run through that line for revenue. So and we sort of bounce through this here. We put our marker here. We put a plus sign over for the shares. You can consider that line basically as being leased. You can't build necessarily past it or use it as part of, sorry. So if I want to go through and build off of that this way, I can't do that with GM&O. I have to go all the way around. So each share for these short lines only is worth $1, and there's no president bonus either. Maintenance never really comes into play. So they are very, very odd little companies. But the idea is that the president lays it down for plus. So assuming here later on in the game, say Xavier kicks up and he gets presidency, he doesn't get to score that line because I was the president of that when I bought it. So it's a very, very important part because you will find later in the game if you have a presidency shift or you end up deciding you don't want to pursue something, it is possible to put these blockers down in different places so that you can prevent some other development elsewhere. So that's it. The other minor thing that I brought over from the maps last week, which you're going to be seeing, are these public lines, which are right here. Again, those are for anybody. Nobody can build a hub on either of these two spots. Of course, they couldn't on the city anyways, but you can't do it on the towns either. The other thing I added for this map as well, and again, this goes for the other historic map that I'm going for, which is Maine. The offshore or off-map locations, they're similar to what's in 18XX, where it represents these hookups to Pittsburgh, to Baltimore to the north, St. Louis, and Houston way off to the west. So those are the main differences. The only other variant that I'm going to test out a little bit on this, and you can do that one on any of the maps that are out there, is the notion that Reginald and Xavier can flip. And basically the way that one works is if you happen to roll 2 1s or 2 6s on that turn, Xavier and Reginald flip. So in this case, instead of Xavier being company 5, Reginald is company 5. So Reginald would use Xavier's die and its usual budget for Reginald's turn, and he would do the turn, and you would pick Xavier's die. The reason why I'm throwing that in there is because it's very easy to optimize for Reginald so that unless he has a large pip budget, he has a harder time keeping up on some of the easy difficulties. And it seems like the easy, to me, is just a tiny bit too easy. I think this would mix it up a little bit. The math that's involved on the 1s and 6s works out to about 2 or 3 turns a game. So those are the variants that are part of this map. And I played 1 game of this earlier today on medium, and I didn't get steamrolled, but I definitely got smacked around. The design behind this game, or this map in particular, is nothing is really, there are plays that look like they're obvious, but sometimes things end up not being as optimal. Atlanta is the only city on the map that's worth 2. You do have some outward pressure on these other parts of the map to go ahead and build off to, but you'll see things here where 3 bumps into it bumps into 2 relatively quickly. 2 wants to build north, 4 wants to go anywhere, and if 4 builds a bypass, they can just go straight down. But you'll see from the way that all these things are, these companies are in a very, very tight dance for who can have access to what. And I was really pleased with how that came about on the first game that I played. So again, I have to go through until December to go through and put all these ideas together. I have a lot of other ideas that I'm kind of pulling through at the same time, but I wanted to focus on the historic map tonight and get you guys just sort of as a brief reminder or display. So at this point, throw in a little graphic and we'll do like the very first round of the playthrough. So anyhow, again, if you want to go off and get some rest or go about your day, totally cool. That's fine. Hopefully, this is an interesting idea. Well, this will be part of the map pack that's going out. I'm not going to do a full color on this. I will go through and do the letter. So, anyhow, thank you for letting me show this off, and I'll be be seeing you later. Thank you, and happy railroading.